Republican Party is very committed to anti-democracy at the moment, like with a consistency and a shamelessness that we just really haven't ever seen before. And the Democrats are just chilling.
Well, they're Mick resistance. That's Mick resistance. That's not real.
Yeah. Like we get the Jan 6 committee's recommendation to prosecute Donald Trump. The issue here isn't Donald Trump. Donald Trump's just the guy who's there at the moment. Like the entire party apparatus for the GOP is fully committed to this. If it's not Trump, it'll be DeSantis or anyone else. But, we're just kind of sleepwalking into this. Very disappointing.
Well, we definitely think it is DeSantis at this point, although Margaret Kimberly, who was on the panel before, does think that Josh Hawley is going to run for president. And I could see that. I don't know if that's going to happen in 24, but it just stands to reason that we're kind of living through this whole neoliberalism nightmare all over again.
Well, we're in this post-neoliberalism uprising, and people are going to the right because there is no left.
No, I completely agree. And frankly, not only is there no left, there's not even like a liberal left. If you want a message on what the Republicans care about right now, they have an army. They have a massive, incredibly dedicated, well-funded, committed media team that will give you an extremely extensive understanding of what they're about right now. What do the Democrats have? Here's a quick question, by the way. Who are the Democrats throwing up there for 2024? We have guesses, but normally a political party, especially, a front-running political party whose current guy is 800 years old, you'd think they would have very clear, strong early messaging on who they think strong contenders are. What do we have? Nobody knows what's going on. And as a product of that, Democrats don't have anywhere to turn when it comes to cohesive messaging. Republicans can look to literally any of their political leaders or pundits to get that kind of cohesion. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but how much of that do you think is really just motivated by the paycheck? I mean, you look at they just did their Turning Point USA event I think it was in Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken. And then, of course, you have, all of these individuals. The person I dislike the most is probably Steven Crowder. But, you get a lot of these individuals that figure out a way to cultivate a lot of support. But I think a lot of that stems from one thing that the right, whether it is Steven Crowder, whether it is Ben Shapiro, and then you have the flex right, if you want to call it, the Tim Pools of the world, they identify themselves as anti-establishment. And we're living in a world today where identification with, let's say, the Democratic Party, and at least the faces of the Democratic Party, is that of the DC bureaucratic establishment that people simply can't stand. And so that opens up an opportunity for those types of individuals who, Dave Rubin probably being the best example of saying, oh, yeah, I'm totally an outsider. I'm totally, not for the DC establishment. Hey, by the way, buy my book, do this, do that. That's going to make me a lot of money. I think they've really cultivated that desire for the anti-establishment movement that is happening in this country. Do you see it the same way?
Oh, no, completely. Yeah, the Democrats are violently reject. So to my mind, both Republicans and Democrats are ultimately subservient to capital in different ways and to different extents. I think the Republicans are way worse in this respect, but ultimately, it's the same master. And with Republicans, all this culture war fascism bullshit is basically just an extension of the same play run they've been doing since Reagan, which is we're going to wholeheartedly commit to culture war talking points as a way of distracting the average voter from the fact that we are fucking them sideways with our economic policy. We're going to pass nonstop wealthy tax cuts, and you're just going to sit there and take it because also we're the ones who are keeping abortion from happening, or this or that or whatever, and they fully commit to that.
Well, we're protecting you from the gays. No, we're protecting you from the trans people in the bathroom, and so somebody has to protect you from them. Because those Democrats are teaching them how to just change genders in kindergarten.
From the violent video games, from the satanic panic, hair metal bands, always and always and always and always it goes on. And it's through all that, they're able to find populist ways of pushing their messaging that don't conflict with that appraisal of capital. But Democrats don't have that, because what happens if you go for populist left? The populist left is anti-capital. They'll actually challenge corporations. You go Bernie Sanders, and you actually see a threat to the power systems in this country. Donald Trump doesn't represent that. So for that reason, I think the Dems are terrified of their own populist wing, which means they can't really compete with Republicans on the same playing field. Nobody likes institutionalists right now. It's completely out of fashion.
No, I mean, well, but the Democrats proved that they preferred Donald Trump to Bernie Sanders. I mean, they proved that. Like, that to me is clear. They're all on the same team. The Democrats just tend to be a little bit better on social issues. So they're at least, they're kinder and gentler when they stab you. But they all dollars lead to the same people.
Still getting stabbed.
Oh, you're still getting stabbed.
That doesn't change.
They're just kinder and gentler about it. And I think people are desperate, and the Democrats don't offer anything. They stand for nothing. And when you ask who they're going to put up, as of right now, they're saying Joe. They're saying Joe's running for a second term. So
and part of the reason why I believe the GOP is going to win in 24 is that you're really stuck in this very dangerous position of, well, we want Joe again simply because he's the incumbent president, but he's incapable of campaigning. So let's just start with that. If you don't actually have a primary, which putting South Carolina first is deliberately done to make sure that there isn't one, or at least one that isn't competitive. And so by doing that, you completely eliminate any type of enthusiasm
for a primary,
or just an enthusiasm for a candidate going into 24. And you know that whatever the GOP is going to do, no matter how bloody their primary is going to be, because eventually other people are going to get in there to join Trump, whether it is Pence, whether it is Nikki Haley, whether it is Ron DeSantis, whether it is Scott Collins.
Kanye West, he's going for it.
In the GIMP outfit or not. I mean, the bottom line is, that primary is going to be rough, but ultimately they will unite to beat either Joe Biden or whomever. To me, speaks of greater volumes to, we desperately need to get something going here. I mean, our thought was possibly having some type of a labor organizer leader run against Joe.
It's just not enough time. And the bottom line is they're going to put up Joe because that's what they've got.
No, I completely agree. It's ridiculous. There doesn't seem to be any like institutional drive to win from the Democrats. The GOP is burning themselves through. Like they're risking a lot of internal conflict by promoting DeSantis over Trump. They're willing to put effort into what they think will suit their party most effectively in the future. Dems are just they're just sitting there, just a big, easy, fat target.
Well, don't you think it's sort of like that's their role? They're the Mick resistance. That's the point. Like, they're not really, this is all like WWE wrestling kind of thing. Like they're all kind of friends at the end. People like Nancy Pelosi and Mitch McConnell, they'll like hang out. Like, this isn't it. They just play the bad guy on TV.
Yeah. I used to think that it was malicious on their part, that they were the planned opposition. But the more this happens, I actually don't think that's true. I actually think that in a way, it's more sinister. It's an ideological thing. I think that liberalism and its precepts kind of leads them to believe that this civility high road bullshit. I think they mean it when they say it. When Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi get along or whatever, I legitimately think that in Nancy Pelosi's head, she's doing this well, by indicating that I'm willing to sit down with the opposition, right, I'm actually one of the people saving American democracy. And no matter how many times the Republicans stab Democrats in the back or lie or turn their back on mutually necessary legislation, I genuinely think they believe that. I think it's like a liberal mind parasite. There's a brain worm keeping them from understanding what's happening.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.